Hey, what's up, y'all? Today I want to review the Stephen King based series. I believe it's an AT&T production called Mr. Mercedes. It's a three-season show. At least I've seen, at least I'm aware of three seasons. Maybe there's another one. I'm not real sure. But I've watched the first two seasons, and I thought I'd give a quick review on these two. On the first two seasons. I mean, I've only watched one episode of the third season, so I don't want to get into that one yet. But the first two are the premise is it's based on a psychopath who lives in his mother's basement. He's kind of like a computer genius or whatever. He steals a Mercedes and runs over a group of people who are in line at a job fair, and he kills I think 16 of them. And the detective, who's an Irishman, I can't remember his real name in real life, but he's an Irishman with a real strong bro. Kind of sounds like Conor McGregor. Um, anyway, he retires before the case is solved, and the psychopath, whose name's Brady Hartsfield in the show, starts taunting the detective via instant messages and kind of messing with his mind electronically and stuff like that. He's also the ice cream man in the neighborhood, etc., etc. So they kind of get into a battle of wits, and at the end, the psychopath is going to work out his masterpiece. And he's like an employee of an electronics store, so he's like this computer geek or whatever, and he's going to blow up this art arts fair thing or something like that. And a woman who ends up being the detective's partner, kind of they all kind of catch on to him, and she ends up bonking him in the head and put him into a coma. That's how season one ends, with the killer like in a coma. They save the day, whatever. Season two begins with Brady Hartsfield, the psychopath, in the hospital. He's in a vegetative state, and some doctors are trying to um, use some medicine via a Chinese lab that's going to regenerate the brain. The idea is that Hartsfield will never come out of this coma. He's been in it a year at the time of this show, and the doctors are administering these drugs, and they start to get um, uh, it's like some brain movement or whatever. And the interesting part, I kind of almost turned it off on season two. So if you're watching season two, give it a little chance. It actually turns out to be, because it kind of seems kind of stupid, because like it shows like basically Brady, the psychopath, in his mind, but he's in his mom's basement still. He's like working out all the time or whatever, but like he's actually in the bed. So it's almost like he's alive, living in his mind, but he's in a comatose state. But he ends up using his mind to like using these, he kind of merges with technology. It's kind of an interesting concept. He kind of merges with technology, like the human mind and him kind of merge in one. He ends up kind of like mesmerizing or overtaking people's bodies via these electronics, and he's using them to like commit some kill some people actually. He hijacks two different people, and so anyway, the doctors end up upping the medicine, the dose that he's using. He ends up coming back to life and ends up escaping the hospital. And He ends up turning himself back in with the doctors, and he says that the doctor changed him. He becomes he became a like an empath. He all of a sudden had feelings or whatever. Well, one of his first victims, who was his friend, his coworker from the store in the first season, a lesbian woman who was his only friend. He had killed. She had came on to him when he was going to bomb the arts fair, and she kind of saw him, and he stabbed her a couple times, but he didn't kill her. And so she was kind of traumatized, and season two is kind of leading into that. She's traumatized. She's kind of a main character. Well, at the end, um, she's called to testify because he claims to everybody that he's changed. He's no longer the same person. The doctor did brain surgery on him and rechanged his whole mind, and like he's not that person anymore. Like he has feelings. Where again, it's kind of an interesting concept. Well, the girl that he stabbed, who was his friend, was called to testify to state whether this was the same guy or not, because everybody else who had known him in his life he had killed, who had knew him well, like his mother or whatever. And another kind of weird thing, like the guy had a sexual relationship with his mother. So it was really kind of, his mother was like an alcoholic drunk. He ended up accidentally killing her in the first season. He was going to poison a dog with some hamburger meat, and they got on to him, so, found him, or like he was surprised, or whatever. So like he wasn't able to do it, and he put the hamburger meat in the freezer, and the mom ended up eating the hamburger meat and dying. So anyway, like I said, season two, it kind of starts off weird. You're like, man, no way this dude's gonna like hijack people using electronics and stuff. It's kind of weird, but it ends up actually being a pretty good season. And at the end, the lesbian lady, her name is Lou. She testifies in court, and she had made a printed out a 3D plastic gun with a ceramic bullet and ends up shooting him in the court and killing him. So he dies at the end of season two. That's how it ends, and he kind of has a smirk on his face when he dies. He like gets shot in the eye. So yeah, anyway, pretty good series. I'd recommend it for sure. Like I'm not a huge Stephen King fan. I think the dude's a little, whatever. But certainly I liked, for kind of a little food for thought. Stephen King wrote The Shawshank Redemption before he was kind of famous and sold it for $5,000. It was a novella that he sold for $5,000, and of course that's a great movie. Anybody's watched Shawshank Redemption, it's just a classic. But this one, the first two seasons are pretty good. Now, I'm in on the third season. It starts off completely different, so I'm not sure if I'm going to like it or not. But anyway, that's the review of Mercedes, Mr. Mercedes. I would recommend it. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments.